streaming. Okay, so I'm officially up and live.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. And actually, if I can grab, well, that's you right there. So if I can grab, yep. Choose screen to share, huh? What is
What is it showing?
cancel? Okay. Okay. So yeah, what are you seeing on your side right now as you're watching the stream?
As I'm watching the stream, I'm seeing your computer screen.
Okay.
Just expanded the picture a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing just my blank thing because I'm not on video because I'm watching the stream.
Okay. And you see the live chat over here, and that's it? Like, it's only one set of that? Like, it's not a million sets of it?
I see a live chat, and there's a little thing over here that just shows, like, your Skype calls, and that's about it.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think that's how we're going to do it. So,
all right.
In fact, that is how we're going to do it. All right. So, where do I... There's a share button there. Right. Share. Copy that. Let's put this on the FUBA. Real quick, I have way too many windows open, and part of that is because I'm doing adult stuff. I'm going through like all my email receipts.
What is stuff for taxes and whatnot?
Yes, I'm hella late this year. I thought I'd have this done way sooner, and we are coming up on a week in, out from
the deadline.
Yeah. I say this all the time, but I feel like I'm almost done. But I'm I'm busy too, so like I can't, like, I don't know. I thought I would do this a lot earlier, and I keep telling myself every year, I'm gonna learn from last year, and I'm not gonna. I
get it though. You have so much going on that it's hard to take time not to focus on that.
Yeah, all of a sudden though, like I didn't, or like I guess that's a lesson. I should have done it earlier in the year. Like I should have done it. Like I should have, gotten this whole thing done earlier in the year. But like all of a sudden, it's like, especially like these last 2 weeks, it's like, I'm going. Oh, okay, I'm doing this now. Oh, wait, shoot. And like I know it's a big task, which is why I didn't want to do it all at once.
Well, you know what they say: history repeats itself.
No, this is worse though, because even last year, I think last year I did it in like maybe February, maybe March. I think maybe late February, early March. And most of the time I get it done around February-ish, maybe March. This time I'm waiting till the last minute.
Yeah.
Cause I'm an idiot. Cause I'm a stupid man. Okay, cancel that. All right. Okay, let's see here.
How's your week been going?
It's been all right. Like I mentioned before, busy.
Yeah.
What about yours? Let me share this
Same.
with a couple other places.
I'm doing a lot of work this week. A lot of long hours. Have a couple of 4 a.m. shifts, like 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. coming up in the next few days. So that's not exactly going to be fun.
I've done that before.
You have? For what job?
I've done that before. I did security at a trucking yard. Security. I logged which trucks came in and out. I worked some funky hours doing that. There was a time where, you might do a late shift or you might do the overnight shift and then the replacement doesn't come in.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and like you don't know that they're not coming in, so you just have to do it.
Oh, that sucks.
Stream up now. And then there was one, I think it was a week where I think it was a skeleton crew anyway. I think it was only like 2 or 3. I think it was only like 4 of us there in general, maybe 5. It was a skeleton crew anyway. But they fired everyone except for me and somebody else.
Ooh.
So me and that other person ended up working 12-hour shifts until they got somebody else in. So it was 12 hours of doing that, dispatching it. It was dispatch at that point. Not even real dispatch, like just saying, hey, this truck is leaving right now. 12 hours. I'd do the shift. I'd see her. I'd go home. I'd sleep. I'd come back. I'd see her.
Man. How was it? Was this like, did they have to release people? Was this like during COVID or was this a few years ago?
Oh, this was years and years and years ago. This was, they caught him stealing.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I guess there was some merchandise or whatever from inside the warehouse that was keeping, that was housing the stuff, and they caught him stealing. And so,
what was in the boxes? What was so valuable for them to steal?
any number, it was like just the daily goods that go to every place. You know what I mean? So, like, clothes. There may have been some jewelry. There may have been some like Christmas stuff there. Maybe some iPods. Some early. This is like super early too. So like the super early versions of iPods. Stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what they stole, but there was some stuff there for them to steal, and they, or not even necessarily steal, but like they may have like diverted the trucks too. You know what I mean? They may have been like, oh, this is going here, and then working with the driver. I don't know exactly know what they did, but whatever it was enough for them to fire him.
Wow.
And leave us there doing 12-hour shifts.
That's just something that just affects you.
Oh man.
I'm trying to think of the exact phrase. What is it? It's a cause and effect.
Hey, me and this my coworker, we grew closer. We grew a friendship. We grew a bond.
Oh yeah, well you didn't have a choice.
Because we were the only two people in each other's lives.
You're all you were seeing.
That's it. Because like once you do a 12-hour shift, you're not going out anywhere. Yeah. Like you're going home and you're going to sleep. You
weren't talking to him. You were talking to yourself.
But
The only that's the only other person you would talk to is yourself at that point.
basically, boy, oh boy, it was yeah. And the drivers. It was us and the drivers, but like at a certain point, like it all ran together. It was a big blurry mess, and the only thing that got me through it was the money, because the paychecks were fat. Now, mind you, I didn't get a chance to spend it because I was asleep. At least not at that time. Like,
Yeah.
like that money was basically sitting there. It was basically like going to war. Like soldiers come back with money because there's nothing to spend it on in Carhita or wherever they are, right? So, hold on, let me see. Oh, he does. Wow, I hate that.
What's the problem?
I hate that.
What?
I just saw a picture of Bronson Reed with thick written across his stomach on his fucking ring gear.
Oh yeah.
Ew.
He used to wear that in NXT.
Gross.
They called he was they called him NXT's resident thick boy.
No, 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 no. Shut it down. Shut it all down.
I'll be honest. I liked it because it made me laugh.
Shut it down. Shut it all down. I hate wrestling sometimes. I really hate wrestling sometimes.
Don't we all?
As much as I like it, then
You're not a true wrestling fan unless you have something to hate.
something will happen, and it seems to be happening more frequently these days. I don't know what it is, but something happens that makes me hate wrestling. Constantly. There's always something that's happening that's like, gee, oh my gosh, I hate this so much. All right, let's do a couple. Let me go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Maybe just a change in generations. Maybe just changes in wrestling over time. Same as with anything. I bet in 2 decades I will hate a lot more about wrestling than I do now.
Is that it? Am I just the old man now? Have I just become the old guy who just hates everything?
Compared to the average wrestling audience, you're in the young.
Be-
the young area.
Because this happened to me too, because I joined this workout troupe. My homeboy does. I've known him for almost 20 years now, and they play new hip hop music. They play hip hop during the workouts, and I find myself hating it because I hate, like, I don't like, the workouts are hard. Like, I've never done the workouts before, so like they're kicking my ass. But the music, I'm like, I hate. I'm like, this is like, like, what happened to, like, where's the bass? Where's the energy? Where's the mom spaghetti and, amped up and ready to fight? Like, I'm not ready. Like, I'm ready to go to sleep listening to, like, how are y'all energized by this? Like, how is this? Is this like, and that was like the music that I'm sure was playing in clubs back in the old world before, and it's like, really? Like, this is what got you hyped up? How? There's no energy to it. There's no energy.
To be fair, I don't like that music either.
But it's super popular. I'm like, where's the energy?
I don't know.
Like, I'm supposed to want to run through a wall listening to this. I'm supposed to, you know what I mean? This is supposed to be this.
You want to be able to jump off a cliff after this.
This is supposed to be my fight song.
Some skydiving.
Yes, give me something, some kind of energy, something. Yet I'm sitting here listening to. Yet I'm sitting here listening. Rockstar. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, all right. That's enough of that. Let's get this stream going. If people pop up, fantastic. I wanted to advertise it yesterday, but I ended up doing adult stuff and looking for the, going through my receipts and stuff, and completely Forgot to do it. So there. All right, party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me, and my brother Kyle. Brother, he suggested to me that maybe we do a WrestleMania prediction stream or a prediction video. So here's the thing. I essentially I didn't forget about it. Like, other Kyle wanted me to is having me go over there to watch it. Which I was actually
me other Kyle, or the other Kyle.
The other
or
Kyle.
Am I the other Kyle?
Technically, you're the other Kyle because I knew him longer. Is going over to his place. I haven't seen him in a while, and actually, that's part of the reason why I haven't seen him in a while, because I was like, I'll see WrestleMania, and I forgot how far away it was. So I'm going over to his house. We're gonna watch it there. I'm growing increasingly not interested in this WrestleMania because the build is just terrible. It's just the worst. It's the worst build, I think, possibly of any WrestleMania.
It's up there. It's certainly up there.
I have a hard time remembering a worse build because I don't remember those WrestleManias either.
Even last year had a reason. You had an excuse.
There was.
All fell apart.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The whole world fell apart, and at least there was a draw to see. Oh, what are they going to do with WrestleMania this year? Like, nobody there. How are they going to pull this off? What exactly are they going to do? Right. At least there was a draw to it. Like, I'm not. Let's get into this, all right? Because we got 2 nights of action. I'm going off the Wikipedia selection of what the nights are going to be. So if Wikipedia is wrong, blame Wikipedia. Let's start at the bottom of the card. And Lord knows when they throw these tag team matches together, the way they did, it's the bottom of the card. We have a tag team turmoil match where the winners receive a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match on night 2 of WrestleMania. Of course, I'm talking about the legendary teams. When you think tag team wrestling, you think of Lana and Naomi, they don't have a name? Oh, because they're slapped together? Okay. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Oh, another slapped together team. Oh, okay. Versus Natalya and Tamina. Oh, another slapped together team. Oh, all right. And Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, a.k.a. the Riott Squad, a team that they tried desperately to break up. But here they are back together again because they are. Who's winning this, and how much do you not care?
First, here is what's going to happen. I think the winner of this match is someone that's not even going to be in the match. Someone who's not announced and is going to be in it later. Supposedly, there's a rumor that they're also going to add another team into this, probably not even without announcing it.
I think I know what you're saying, and I don't think that's true, but go ahead.
Billie Kay and Carmella.
Oh! I don't know what you're going to say, and maybe.
Yeah, because they're doing a little thing on SmackDown. Supposedly, that's the rumor they're going to add them in. If they do, I think they'll just go with that. Because they like Billie Kay. She's comedy.
I don't think they like her enough.
Kind of comedy.
I don't think they like her enough. I think they
like her enough.
I think they
like more in this match.
I think they might like her enough to throw her in at the last minute. I thought you were going to say Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey because there's a new because the president of the company now said that they're closer to coming back now, which I don't even believe. I think Ronda doesn't give a shit. I really think Becky Lynch is gonna stay that year away from wrestling because they say that the first year, bonding between a mother and child is pretty important. So, and she just had the kid. So, like, she probably could come back. She could probably get in the ring and work out and do all that stuff she was working out when she was pregnant. But, if they can afford to, and Lord knows she can afford to, stay at home. A lot of women stay at home at least that first year. So I don't think they're coming back. As far as Billie Kay And who was the other one?
Carmella, I think.
Maybe. Why not?
They have as good of a shot as any of them.
Why not? Who do you think's gonna? You think they're gonna win?
Also, could you imagine Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, two of your biggest stars in the women's division, just coming back as a team on night one?
Yeah.
In the first match.
Yeah. Yes. Do you know why? Asuka and Charlotte, just a couple of months ago, did the exact same thing.
They did the exact same thing.
So it feels like WWE knows they have a hole in the women's tag team division, but there's no one there who knows anything about wrestling to know enough to know how to fix it. So they just keep throwing bodies into it like a bottomless pit and hoping at some point it'll fill up. You think they're gonna win? You think Carmella and Billie Kay are gonna win as a surprise win?
I think they will. I'm gonna stick to that.
All right. You know what? Who cares?
Who cares?
Sure.
Teams, also,
Sure.
Not only are they thrown together, none of them have any chemistry whatsoever. Naomi and Lana, no chemistry. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, I think they're the first team I've seen in a while that has like negative chemistry, where they actively hurt each other more just being together.
Mm-hmm.
They're both horrible together.
Yeah.
Natalia and Tamina, I didn't even know they were a team. At least the Riot Squad is. Why not? Then why not have the Riot Squad win? At least they're a team.
Well, Natalia and Tamina are the. Here's the problem with Natalia. I know you didn't know that they were even a team because those are two women that most people don't even know are still employed. Like they forget they are still employed there until they show up on screen. It's like, oh, they still work there, which shouldn't be because I remember long ago. You may be too young for this. But I remember long ago when Natalia was was one of the hottest female prospects in all of professional wrestling before she got signed. When she was Natty Neidhart, when she had that powerlifter body before she trimmed down a little bit, she was one of the hottest prospects. Women's wrestling looked like it was on the horizon. It was her. It was like Simply Luscious, Lufisto. There was a night. Trish Stratus and Lita were already on the main show.
Yeah.
So they were on the main show, but there was this up and coming crop of young women that were coming up that was like, oh, women's wrestling is gonna be dope. And like I was a fan. I was a Lufisto. I was a big Lufisto fan, Simply Luscious. I was a fan. And like most of those names are gone. They never came up to the main roster because the main roster never actually wanted actual women's wrestlers until like the 2000 teens and even later than that. And now Natalia, you forget she's even employed there. She used to be one of the hottest prospects and you forget she even has a job. All right, let's move on. We're spending way too much time on this stupid match. We're spending more time on this match than WWE probably did. Hold on. So we got some comments. What's going on, Eli? We got some comments on the YouTube. Eli, here's my prediction: is going to be torture. Yes, it is. It's going to be 2 days of torture. It's going to be 2 days of multiple torture. So first off, the show's going to suck more than likely. Secondly, you're gonna be tortured by Peacock because Peacock, and I've been saying this since Peacock came out. It's a terrible service. The user interface is trash. So you're going to have 2 days of having to deal with that trash-ass user interface. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great times. Let's see. I feel like there is no animosity to the build-ups. It's like they are clocking in for a paycheck at work. That's correct. I didn't even know Tamina's with the company. That's also correct. Michael Mason chimes in. I wouldn't mind seeing Mandy and Dana lose if they change it to a brawl and panties match. Well, there you go. I mean...
Well, you know what? To be fair, I think for the wrestling itself, I think the show will be good only because the wrestlers, they know. The wrestlers probably know this is not the best built Mania. But they know it's a chance to show what they can do. They're going to go out there and they're going to try to leave it all out in the ring. They're going to try to make it a good... they're going to try to make the wrestling as good as they possibly can.
Yes.
From that aspect, they're going to try their very hardest.
Yes.
So I think, to a certain extent, it will be a good show. It's just, it was not a fun road getting there.
Now, it wasn't. Also, first time in a year in front of fans. First time in a year in front of actual fans.
Yeah.
I think the energy is going to be up for that. And whatever that first match, I think a lot of this is based on what the first match is going to be. I would not put this tag match as the first match.
No.
I would not. I might put the next match we're going to talk about as the first match, Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
Yes.
This is one of the as much as I hate wrestling, as much as there may be down periods and even in the worst wrestling periods, there's always some good. Right? So like in 95, the wrestling business like was just in a complete downturn. Like there was almost no good in wrestling. Except Shawn Michaels was on the ascent. And Bret Hart was having fantastic matches on the undercard. You know what I mean? So you had some stuff there, right? And the Luchadors on Raw, or on Nitro rather, right? You had, and ECW was, coming into prominence. So you had some stuff. I think this may be one of the highlights of the show. And if WWE isn't stupid, and they've proven that they are, then Cesaro will win clean as a whistle in the middle of the ring with a sharpshooter. 1, 2, 3, or the big uppercut. I'll take a big uppercut. I'll take a very European uppercut for the win. That's my prediction. If they're smart. Thoughts?
Well, my prediction, it's real interesting to me because Cesaro, how long has he been in WWE now? It's since like 2012, like 8, 9 years?
It's been a long time.
This is the biggest match he's ever had. Technically, this is the biggest match he's ever had in WWE.
Yeah.
I still don't know they even buy into him enough to give him a win. I just don't. I want to buy it, but I just don't. I don't buy it. Like, I thought he was going to win Elimination Chamber. I thought he was in position to win that match.
You're not wrong.
But they didn't even give him that chance.
You're not wrong.
And he is one of those guys where you're just like, oh, maybe this time. Maybe this time's the one. Maybe this year is the year.
You're not wrong.
Getting this match, that's a start. But I still don't think they're going to have him win clean against Seth. I think Seth is going to go over because Seth is a company man.
Oh, to a fault. To a fault. Have you seen the interviews or heard the sound bites that Seth Rollins been doing over the last couple of days?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Shut up. Shut up.
He is on his knees constantly.
And he's done this before, and it always sucks. And it's all, and like I know why. I get why. It's Virgil dropping down to his knees to clean Ted DiBiase's boots. I understand why, but you also could just not say anything. You also could just say, hey, WrestleMania's coming up. I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope they enjoy WrestleMania, though. Like, that's it. You can just do that. Don't say anything else. But he always does. You're not wrong. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cesaro loses or doesn't go over clean as a whistle, however that shakes out. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be a shame. Because what should happen, here's what should happen. What should happen is these guys should get 15 to 20. It should be a good match. Seth has a tendency to add one or two more things than are necessary. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, hopefully the rest of the match is good enough. And Cesaro should go over. But you're right. You're not wrong.
Should is a key word.
Should is the key word. Should is the key word. Let's see. We got a couple more comments here. Joey the Blade pipes in. What's going on, Joey? One of the biggest problems about Tamina, she's a charisma vacuum. She's boring, unlike her father. Correct. 100% correct. And go ahead.
What's funny about that is you want to put people in tag team to hide their weaknesses and emphasize their strengths.
Yes.
Natalia and Tamina are probably, I don't want to be harsh, but they're probably the two biggest charisma vacuums. And I don't think Natalia, as far as promos go, I think Natalia and Tamina are two of the very lowest in terms of promo charisma.
Natalia seems to have the personality of offline, like off camera, like all the online shit, right? She seems to have the personality of like your aunt. You know what I mean? Like like her personality is I love kitties. That's a personality? So like, and not counting all the weird semi-incestual stuff she does with her sister. But yeah, both of them, if you're gonna put them in a team, should be in a team with somebody who can carry that portion of the team. It's like you put Billy Gunn with the Road Dogg because the Road Dogg has the charisma and Billy Gunn has the body. 27-time tag team champions. Buy all their t-shirts. Let's see. Eli, a lot of wrestlers rely on their skills because of the lack of storylines. I won't doubt everybody will be leaving it all in the ring, but what does it build up to? That's a good question. Nothing, because the writers don't know what they're doing. HBK and Brett were killing each other. Yes, they were. Biggest problem in WWE is they have too big of a roster. I don't agree with that. And don't know how to utilize real talent, i.e. Aleister Black, biggest waste of talent ever. I don't agree with that. They have, honestly, in some cases, in some parts of the roster, too small, right? Like with the women's tag team, they don't. How many women's tag teams do they have? They have the Riot Squad.
Even women's, look at the normal tag teams.
Same. The normal, like, how many of whatever division that you're talking about do they actually have? Their problem is they have all the time in the world to promote. Like, they have 18 hours of television time, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. They waste it. They waste it. And
they have 7 days to figure out what they're going to do next week, and then 6.5 of those days are spent on, I don't know if Vince McMahon's going to like this. I don't know what's he going to do when he gets his script.
Bloody hell. I'm going to sound, listen, I'm going to be the old guy shaking his fist at the clouds, but I remember 20 years ago when everybody on the roster had a name. You knew who they were. They were kind of a star. Tiger Ali Singh, you knew who Tiger Ali Singh was, and he was only on the show for like 2 months. Meanwhile, you forget Tamina's even employed now. You know what I mean? You forget people are even employed. People aren't even there anymore. You know, when they had the mass firings last year, a lot of them people were like, "Oh, they still work there?" What? Yeah. You have 3 hours of Raw. 3 hours.
Use it.
Let's move on.
We're 2 matches in.
2 matches in.
16 match card.
Oh my gosh. How about this one? Oh boy, oh boy. We're talking about one of the most brutal stipulations for a match ever. Arguably the match stipulation. Arguably the old school match stipulation. When you heard this match stipulation was a thing, you knew it was a blood feud. You knew people might die. Oh, this is a big thing. Ma, get the kids and the pickup. We're going down to the old barn to see this match because somebody's going to get hurt. Because this was a blood feud. Now it's a slime feud.
It's a steel cage
between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. I have been a Shane McMahon fan since I first knew who he was on TV. Big fan. Loved everything about him. Loved the Shane Shuffle. Loved the music. You know, the jerseys, the attitude. all that. Loved it all. Except his commentary. But loved it all. Nowadays, that old gray mare ain't what she used to be, and Braun Strowman is a cartoon, and this whole thing has been constructed by a child. I feel like, whoever, maybe one of Shane's kids constructed this feud, because it's about slime and fake report cards, and you're a stupid head, and choo-choo sounds, and what are we doing? I don't care. Shane's gonna stand up for all the people that get bullied. Shane's gonna lose, because of course he is, because why would he win? There's no reason for him to win. He's gonna fall off the top of the cage onto Braun, yay, and Braun's gonna come out looking like more of an idiot somehow. Also Elias is gonna get a WrestleMania paycheck for getting the train run on him again outside. That's what I'm calling it now. Braun Strowman running the train on Elias on the outside of the cage, maybe into the cage. He'll get a WrestleMania paycheck for that. But Shane loses.
Well, can I just talk about steel cages, just in general?
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite stipulation, at least when WWE does it, when AEW first did this, and I'm like, this is so much better. They added the one stipulation of that if you escape the cage, you lose.
Okay.
If you escape the steel cage, you lose. And I'm like, perfect. Because the steel cage is my most hated stipulation in WWE.
Okay.
Because
of the escape clause?
Because the whole purpose, every time they build to a cage match, for one, it's the same build every time. A heel is a coward. He's constantly running away.
Mm-hmm.
So you're building up to a steel cage match where you're supposedly supposed to be contained.
Correct.
Except when the entire purpose of the match is to escape the cage. The whole time, and most of the time, it's both the competitors are trying to escape the cage. They're trying to run away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole purpose of the match. It is so stupidly designed, so stupidly booked. They also do steel cage matches to make sure no one interferes, despite the fact in every single steel cage match, somebody always interferes.
A significant portion of them, yes.
I've had this on my chest for a long time. I've needed to get it out now. I hate steel cage matches with a passion because none of it makes any sense. And when they were talking about, man, Braun Strowman's really smart for picking a steel cage match, no, he's not. Because Shane's going to find a way to try to run away from him the entire match. Elias is going to get involved. Jackson Riker's going to get involved. And here's my prediction. My prediction is Braun Strowman is going to get to the top of the cage. And Shane McMahon is also going to get to the top of the cage. He is going to throw Shane McMahon off the steel cage.
To the outside?
On the outside. And Shane McMahon will win. And it will make Braun look stupid. And it will give Shane the win. They're going to do it. Quote me on this. Replay it. Replay this exact clip when it happens. We're 3 matches in.
You might be right. See? You might be right. I would say no, but you might be right, because here's the problem. Because here's why I would say that shouldn't work. Because this should be the end of Shane McMahon trying to get involved with any of this stuff, but it may not be. It'll be the continuation of this little stupid group of Riker, Elias, and Shane for no reason. This group that makes no sense together. All right. You may be right. I can't argue that. You may be right. Just the way they book shit, you may be right. Let's see. Let's go to some comments. Joey the Blade, another issue with Seth Rollins is his issue with not selling moves at times, and I know a lot of wrestlers do that now. Correct. Eli, I think for that it's where the titles have lost their importance. The titles have lost their importance. There's way too many of them. 3 Stages of Hell, LOL. I love Shane, but why? Correct. Slime time, yes. Michael Mason, Vince is going to come out at the last second. No, he's not. When it looks like Shane is going to win and screw him over. Vince versus Shane at WrestleMania 38, LOL. Yes. If the prevailing winds weren't that Vince McMahon is starting to see how old he is and not like his own look, I would say yes. But the fact that I feel like he's seeing Father Time now in the mirror means that we're not going to see that.
By the way, Shane McMahon is kind of like DX. In a way, he's still doing the same thing he was doing 25 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Even though he's much older.
Much older, not really able to do all the things. He still pushes through.
He's trying to pretend he's cool.
I'll give him credit for pushing through. He pushes through. Cause here, one thing I have noticed, like even as far back as that one Survivor Series where Randy Orton had to go and console Shane McMahon's kids, when Shane gets up there, right? Before, when he was a young kid, he would do this, right? And it would be kind of like a jokey, like, I'm gonna fall. Now, it's like, no, he knows. Like, you can see that last a breath that he releases is old man, is not no old man, but is grown man stubbornness. Like, it's just, I'm just doing it. Like, it just has to be done now. Right, I used to want to do this, now I have to do this. Let's see. Eli, Dave Azier should do a run-in and pie Braun Strowman in the face, then Shane can hit him with the coast to coast. I don't know who Dave Azier is, but I'm sure he's a TikToker or something. LOL, they should have Iron Sheik come down to the ring next year. No, well, they better get him started this year, because it'll take him that long to get down there. Yeah. Next match is a match that shouldn't have happened for various reasons, which we'll get to in a couple of matches. I don't want to see this match, but it's going to happen anyway. New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships. Who do you think is going to win?
First, I kind of disagree to the sense that I actually did want to see this match.
Okay.
When they first announced it.
Okay.
When they first announced it, because I am a little intrigued of what they're going to do with Omos in his first match. Of exactly, he might not look good, but I want to see how he looks. I'm tired of the teasing. I want to see what's actually the product. What are we working with here?
Okay. And what do you think we're working with? Do you think we're working with Khali?
I think we're working with a guy that, benchmark better than the Great Khali. I mean, I know that's not very high.
Right.
Hey, Great Khali's a Hall of Famer now.
Yeah, him and the Bellas. Boy, oh boy, that's a star-studded list, isn't it? Him, the Bellas, and Drew Carey. Boy, oh boy, this is some Hall of Fame.
JBL.
Boy, oh boy. Yo.
Cry me a river, Snowflake. I think it's obvious who's going to win. I think they want AJ and Omos to win, and they're probably going to hold on to the belts for a little while. Not defend them. Just look cool with them, I guess. Though it's hard to look cool with those pieces of red Jolly Rancher stuck between your waist.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't have huge thoughts on this. It's not really that exciting. And also, AJ has lost a few matches heading into this, so.
Oh, just based on WWE predictive booking. Yeah. I didn't want this match to happen, at least not for the Tag Team Championships. And we'll go into more detail of this later, but Cedric and Shelton should not have lost the Tag Team Championships. You want to have them do the tag match? Fine. I can see what you're talking about. Here's the problem with that. Even if Omos comes out there and is able to put his left foot in front of his right foot, oh my gosh. If they're a tag team, AJ's going to have to do all of the work. I mean, if they're tag team champions, they're going to have to be tag team champions like the Colossal Connection was. You may be too young to remember the Colossal Connection. I don't know if you've ever seen any old Colossal Connection tag team matches on the network, back when we had the network. But it was the team of Andre the Giant and Haku.
Oh.
This was back in 91-ish. 91, 90.
Terrifying tag team.
Yeah, like 89 to 90, right? Well, you got to remember, this was Andre at the end of his career. They still wanted to keep him on TV. They still wanted to give him, a payday or whatever to get him through, whatever, help medical expenses or whatever. So they put him in a tag team. And the tag team consisted of Haku coming in, having an entire match against two people, coming over to the corner. Maybe he'll toss his opponent to the corner. Andre will grab him and give him the headbutt from behind and toss him, right? He actually, in the beginning, he would come in and we'd do the hip toss. He would hip toss a guy. He would sit on him, and then he'd tag out and then he'd do the headbutt, right? Near the end, near the end, Haku technically should have been the heavyweight champion of the world because he was beating two guys on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like, he was having matches against Demolition by himself, right? And then
was getting paid to just stand there.
Andre was getting paid to just stand there, and then he'd come in like at the end for the tag, sit on one of them, 1, 2, 3, and then they'd leave, right? That's what they'd have to do with these guys. AJ would have to come in, do everything. Omos would come in, hit a big brain chop or whatever, Kali squeeze, whatever finisher they decided to give him. Probably not a power bomb. Whatever finisher they decided to give him, and then they leave.
They should have thrown Shelton and Cedric into this match. This would have been the few times where a tag team triple threat would have actually benefited, because then you have more guys that would be able to do the work, and you could hide almost more.
Correct, and I know why they did this because they wanted a face team in there against AJ and Omos, but I don't really care what happens here. I do think, I honestly think this is a New Day transitional championship. You're probably right to AJ and Omos. Give them something to do. And adds another championship onto their resume. Onto AJ's resume. Next match. Let's go. Couple of Eli. I'll never forget when Kevin Von Erich came down and said, "I love those gay guys." LOL. Hate it when people are still alive, who are still alive, go into the legacy wing. Yeah. Next match. This match is the whole reason WrestleMania exists. It's the whole reason Peacock even bought WWE. It's the whole reason money exists. It's the reason the sun shines. If you listen to wrestling insiders, this match is going to change professional wrestling forever. It's going to restart the Attitude Era and make it even better. More people are going to come in. There are so many people that are waiting, that are calling their local cable providers and telling them, I want to be a part. I don't even want Peacock. I want to pay $69.99 for the actual pay-per-view. I want to give all of my money to them because they're supporting this particular person. This is going to be the new wrestling renaissance. If you hear any of these idiots online talk about this, one of the people that are involved in this match and how much of an audience he's going to bring to WWE, I of course am talking about hey ho ho Miz and Morrison versus Damian Priest and the Easter Bunny.
What a promo.
The Easter Bunny. Haven't you seen the comments online? The Easter Bunny's a big Latin star. You just don't know anything. You're just a dumb American. He's going to bring all these Latin people. They're going to all come and watch it. The ratings are going to go through the roof because Bad Bunny is here.
Can we be honest for 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could have Joe Biden on the show. I don't think it will bring that much different of an audience.
No.
For 1 week. Wrestling is so within itself now that no matter who you bring in, it's people that don't watch wrestling are not going to watch wrestling just because they know a guy that's on it.
Correct.
Wrestling is one of those things where you like it or you really don't like it. There's no in between.
Correct. And
Just get that out of the way first.
I think it's so stupid that people think Bad Bunny is the next coming of Mike Tyson. Like there was a climate. There were so many things that had to happen in 98, 97, 98 for Mike Tyson to be the perfect person to bring so much attention to the WWE that was already starting to get attention, and professional wrestling as a whole was already starting to get attention. He was just the pivotal but last piece of that puzzle to help bring eyeballs all the way tuned in. And there wasn't so much access back then, right? If you wanted to see Tyson, the only way you could see Tyson was on pay-per-view. So when he showed up on Raw, now I get to see Tyson do something on Raw, right?
Yeah.
And now I get to see him, in wrestling, right? I get to see him back in a ring on this big stage on pay-per-view for the first time. You know what I mean? All these things.
Now in 2021, he's in AEW.
Right. All these things, and that didn't even spike the ratings back then. All these things aligned back then. His big Latin star. No one gives a shit. I don't care. No one cares. Who's gonna win this match?
Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
Of course.
He is the babyface celebrity.
Duh. Snooki won her WrestleMania match. Okay?
That's it.
Okay? Snooki won.
I actually took time out of my day, out of my life, to watch the Hey Hey Hop Hop. And I wish I took that time back. And I also had to remind myself when watching it that about what was it, a month ago? Miz was WWE champion.
Don't remind me.
Your top guy for 2 weeks. But he was it.
Sure. Uh-huh.
And now he's in a bunny costume.
Correct.
What's the next match?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. This is the bathroom match. This Bad Bunny match is taking the place of all those Divas matches that we had. However many. This is the bathroom break match. Go pop your popcorn. Go out and pick up the pizza that you ordered from Little Caesars or whatever for that match.
Supposedly Bad Bunny is not very athletic either.
Well,
he was in an All-Star game in NBA, and apparently he did not look good.
Well, he's been, according to Triple H, he's been living in the Performance Center the last couple of months. So again, maybe he'll put his left foot in front of his right foot, but who cares? And also, he'll be gone on Monday. Actually, no.
Yep.
This is Saturday. He'll be gone on Sunday. Anyway.
At least he cares. At least it seems like he somewhat cares.
Fine.
Compared to other celebrities.
Fine. But stop telling me he's going to bring in these droves of people to watch the show. He's not.
Yeah, he's not.
Wrestling as a whole is hemorrhaging fans right now. He's not going to bring in people. So much so that do you ever watch Ups and Downs, like those recap videos of the wrestling shows?
Yeah, I used to watch the Ups and Downs. I more listen to like Wrestle Talk now.
Okay, so that's become a big thing because a lot of people stop watching the actual shows because they suck so much.
Yeah,
and
you
even
just watch the recaps.
And even then, Cultaholic, I think, the one with Ross, former King Ross, he just did a video that was like, this is the last weekly ups and downs we're going to do because it's not financially viable. Meaning that fans aren't even watching the recaps of the shows that they stopped watching anymore. They're not even, they used to watch the shows, then they watched the recaps. Now they're not even watching the recaps.
What most people do, and I've been guilty of this myself, you just scroll through Twitter. You just see what happened, and it's like 3 minutes and you're done.
If you do that.
3 hours.
If you do that, I found myself, so I typically listen to Solid Monster, his podcast, and I advertise my podcast on there, the How Do We Even Get Here podcast, which you can find at tinyurl.com/getheretube for the YouTube version. I advertise on there. But even I don't listen to his show every week. because I don't care that much about what the weekly product is doing. Like this whole lockdown scenario and everything, this would have been a perfect time for me to like expand into like the more wrestling stuff on my channel and stuff. I didn't care. I used to be a wrestler and I don't care. I don't. So yeah, bad. So yeah, some mediocre mumble rapper from fucking from another country is gonna bring in droves and droves of people. No, they're not. Anyway, let's move on. The WWE Championship match between Bobby Lashley with MVP versus Drew McIntyre.
This is going to be fun. This was the match I wanted to talk about.
So this is part of the reason why I didn't want that tag match to happen, because I saw this coming. And I talked about this on one of my live streams, I think it was TLC, when Shelton and Cedric won the tag team championships. And they teased dissension between them as they were winning the championships. I saw it and I said, no, don't do it. Hurt Business is is arguably the best thing on that 3-hour train wreck you have. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. So they backed off of that dissension storyline. And then just break them up.
Yep.
Poof. Just break them up.
Gone.
And then even the apologists are like, oh, maybe it's a ploy because the Hurt Business isn't supposed to be at ringside. Except Bobby Lashley beat both of them up.
Yeah.
He put hands on them. It wasn't a
They put hands back.
It wasn't like when DX teased their breakup in like 98, 99, where they're like, oh, I can't believe you either. And they just leave. It wasn't that. They actually physically had matches against each other. This is not some 4D chess thing. This is terrible booking. This is a company that has built itself now, thanks to Stephanie McMahon and her pristine business degree of businesswoman-y, has done all they can to secure that bag, and Peacock has given them that bag. Boy, they got that billion. And Fox, they've secured that bag, and they don't care about wrestling. They don't care what product they put on. They can have Becky Lynch's newborn baby sit in the ring playing with and playing with Duplo blocks, right, for 3 hours, and they don't care. They've got their money. They don't care. And matter of fact, the baby's probably too young to even hold its head up. So it would just be lying there, not even doing anything for 3 hours, and they wouldn't care. Which in and of itself is a sin. But then they actively go and destroy one of the good things that they actually have that anybody even talks about on the show.
And this was done by design. This was intentional.
Correct.
Because this was done by design because they were so scared. They were so scared of the possibility that people might like Bobby Lashley more than Drew heading into that match.
Correct.
I think they were probably even scared they were going to boo Drew McIntyre, which I didn't think they were ever going to do.
Correct.
I don't think anybody's going to boo Drew McIntyre.
I know
there's a small section that doesn't like him at the moment.
I don't think so either. I think, and it's funny that they're getting this weird itch about this babyface that they're making the uber babyface now. But Drew McIntyre doesn't fall into the same mold that Roman Reigns did, or Diesel did when he turned face, or Shawn Michaels when he first won the belt, or any of the other baby faces that they turned from being cool to being, corporate, bootlickers. Because I think his matches are solid. I don't think anybody's blaming him for anything on the show. I think most people, again, his matches are solid, and they're like, they wish. Matter of fact, all I'm hearing is people wishing that he would have been able to do this in front of people this entire year.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think anybody's blaming Drew for anything. I think people like Drew. I think people, even in his babyface persona, he somehow hasn't gone into complete corporate ass kisser mode yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like I heard I heard his Stone Cold podcast. He did a little corporate ass kissing, but like it wasn't like egregious. Like it wasn't like Seth Rollins levels. So I don't think anybody hates Drew. I think, I don't think anybody begrudges Drew or anything like that. I think the closest thing that would have happened is some people would have wanted, and there is a contender to this, would want Bobby Lashley to keep the title longer.
I think I think that it's paranoia. It's paranoia from all the years where that this happened with Roman.
Why didn't they do it then? Why didn't they do it then? Why did they not have Roman stop saying "suffer and succotash" and all the other corny stuff they had him do?
Exactly. That's what's so stupid about it. And the other thing is, you know why this was done. This was done intentionally to cut the legs out of Lashley. This was done to bring him down to size, to make Drew look better, to hope, in their minds, it would make people want to see Drew win more, when in actuality, it's just put both of them down. And it's taken down the excitement out of the match entirely.
Yes.
And if you want to break up the Hurt Business, fine. It's stupid. It's a really dumb idea.
Especially this early.
Especially this early. But if you're gonna do it, wait till after WrestleMania. If you're doing it 2 weeks before this match, one of your main event matches of WrestleMania, all of a sudden the match itself is a side plot. It's plot B to plot A.
Correct.
Which is a crappy breakup.
Correct.
Do you know how many segments they've had between Cedric Alexander Shelton, Bobby, and MVP just going at each other the last couple weeks versus him actually with his actual feud at frickin' Mania?
Correct.
It's staggeringly different.
Correct.
It's so amazing to me how they can just... I just feel awful for Drew because none of this is his fault. This is Bobby's fault.
I honestly feel bad for everybody involved except for Vince, because they could have come into this with attention very similar, not very similar, but in the same vein of like when two baby faces faced off against each other, or like when like a Rock and Austin faced each other. Even when The Rock was a heel, he had his fans, right? That's fine. There are people who want to see Bobby Lashley succeed. That's fine. One of my issues was when he won the belt off of Miz, when they did that whole transition, was I know they're gonna put the belt on Drew at Mania. I wish Lashley would have it longer.
Exactly.
So, like, great that he has it, but I wish he would have it longer. But maybe, even if he loses it, he's still considered in that upper echelon now, so that he can get it back for a more lengthy run later. Okay, fine. So if they hadn't broken up the Hurt Business and they booked this well, go in there with some divide. Who cares? That doesn't mean Drew's a heel, and that doesn't mean Lashley's a face. That means that both of these guys have their contingent for whatever reason that they have their contingent. Not to mention the political climate and the Hurt Business and what they symbolize for some people, etc., etc., etc. But there are all these different things that play into it. Neither one of these guys have to come out of this thing looking like chumps. They can both come out of this. They could conceivably come out of this looking like this generation Stone Cold and Rock. This could conceivably be could have conceivably been the first in one of that kind of trilogy, that type of trilogy. That they could be this version of that. Whatever the circumstances at this particular point are for that, let that be that circumstance. But no, they fucked it up. They broke up the Hurt Business. So now so now this doesn't put, and by the way, this does not put heat on Bobby Lashley. This does not, no it doesn't. This now makes Lashley more sympathetic because we liked the Hurt Business. And we know Lashley didn't decide to break up the Hurt Business. We know that was a corporate decision. We know the same way we know that Roman Reigns was much cooler than Suffer and Succotash. And the way they were shoving him down wrestling fans complain about. No, it's how they do it. The fact that we know that they've been doing this terribly is why we don't like it now. And why I think this might backfire. Because, especially after the stories came out that Lashley and MVP were fighting hard with Vince to keep the Hurt Business together, and then Vince dug his heels in even harder and was like, "Break them up right now, pal." No, now I feel like Lashley might get some positive feedback that they didn't want him to have in the first place. As far as who,
I think this is gonna inadvertently hurt Drew.
Yes,
because he might get this. What happened to Roman? One of the main reasons people really started to turn on Roman was because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was not Daniel Bryan. They wanted Daniel Bryan to win. They didn't. They had Roman, so they turned their attention to Roman.
Same thing with Batista, like the year before.
Yeah. So now, I'm almost afraid, and I really hope fans don't do this, because I do like Drew, and Drew does not deserve this.
He doesn't.
But there is a possibility, you're definitely giving them more to work with, that if he wins this match, people are going to take their hatred of them breaking up the Hurt Business and Lashley losing the title, and they're going to put that hatred on Drew. So in doing so, you did all this to try to make Drew more likable. You made him, it's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
It's going to make him look worse at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do anything.
No. Not a thing. And that sucks. And they now went from a scenario where if they were careful, they could have made this into something good. And they painted themselves into another corner, like they've done for really years, but if we're really concentrating on it, months. And now it's almost, there's no win. There's almost no win. As far as who I think is going to win, I think I'm going to stick with my original prediction all those months ago. I think Drew's going to take it because they've been building him as the, Saint babyface for however long. I think Drew's going to take it, especially after the last man standing match or whatever match it was with Sheamus last month. I think Drew's going to take it. I think Lashley's going to lose. If they're smart, Lashley will regain the title within the next year. But they're not. And this whole thing backfired. And the Hurt Business broke up for nothing. And we'll end up with... And that's my prediction. Who do you think's going to win?
I think Drew's going to win. I think that was always in the cards. They want to give him a win to have that moment with fans that he never had at WrestleMania 36.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, King Corbin's been a part of this. So that's just...
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Fuck. You're right. I forgot.
There's so much to go into this. We didn't even talk about that.
Because that's another guy that's like, why are you still employed? And I forget all about him until he pops up on TV and it's like...
Why is he still a king? Why is he still the king gimmick? The King of the Ring was 2 years ago.
I don't know. I mean, Owen walked around as the King of Hearts for years. For 3 years. Anyway. The main event of the evening. Of night one, the women take it. We're talking about the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. This, we've talked about the terrible build of all. And by the way, we didn't even talk about. So here's how good Cesaro and Seth Rollins is. Here's how excited people are for Cesaro. People are forgetting about that the fact that this whole match is based on the giant swing.
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of not really. There's not really a lot of build heading into that.
There's no real reason for this match, but we're just excited to hopefully see Cesaro in a spotlight.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. So the tag turmoil match, bad build. They built that last week, and as soon as I saw clips of like every woman in the world coming in the ring, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do a tag team gauntlet or something stupid. Terrible build. Shane and Braun. I don't even know if there was much of a build between fucking Kofi, or the New Day, and AJ and Omos. Bad Bunny and Miz, awful comedy. Lashley and Drew, the breakup of the Hurt Business just destroys anything else that they will do with that. And Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair is, again, like, there's a 7-way tie for or 6-way, really. Fine, I'll forgive Cesaro and Seth Rollins, but there's a 6-way tie for terrible build in these matches, and this is another one. Why? Why on earth? Why on earth would you put these two in a tag team? They are not Austin and Undertaker in '98.
With tag teams, with two people feuding, it's their go-to storyline on a weekly basis. You can count on this storyline on almost any episode.
And if I'm not,
or SmackDown.
And if I'm not mistaken, aren't they doing this like 3 times? Like at the same time they're doing this? There's the Rhea Ripley one and there's another one somewhere. Oh,
yes.
Jeez.
It's the only storyline they know how to do. And they don't even do it that well.
No! They don't. First off, they have these two people. Okay, they're going to be in a tag team. Can they coexist against another tag team that don't want to coexist in Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax? Nia Jax, who continues to have a history of fucking up, of just not knowing what she's doing, where to be, when to be there, how to look when she's there, just continues this streak.
People defend her. People constantly defend her, like, oh, you're just going after her because she's a woman. It's like, no. She's botching very consistently, and it seems like she's only doing it more as time goes on.
Correct. And it's so bad. So
basically, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair.
And then
lead up.
And they draw in Carmella's sommelier Reggie, who, I swear to God, if this guy doesn't buy pants that fit, who was his mother? He did not have a mother. I had a complicated relationship with my mother, but she always made sure I looked good.
Talk about an act that doesn't go together. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Reginald. What if...
And Reginald's only there because they fired Enzo.
That's true.
he's the black Enzo now, and not even as talented.
He's the black James Ellsworth.
And not even as talented.
Oh, wow.
Bloody hell. This whole thing is stupid. It was the easiest build in the world.
Easiest.
Sasha Banks thinks she's the best in the world. Bianca Belair thinks she's the best in the world. Even taking the EST from best and using it as her gimmick. That's it. That's the build. You have Sasha become a heel because she's in the driver's seat, and that's it. And you just have these two egos clashing with each other. They don't have to be in tag matches with each other. They don't have to, that's it. Matter of fact, they didn't even have to be in matches with each other. You could just do promos against each other back and forth, or videos against each other back and forth, and have that be it. But no, they screw this up from top to bottom. And now I almost don't care about the match. Bloody hell, man.
So amazing how they were able to screw this up.
If there's... Go ahead.
So unbelievably bad. What you have here is the possibility of one of your strongest possible women's matches
Correct.
you could book.
Matches! One of your strongest matches you could book. Women or men's.
Belair is an absolute star. Can do it all.
Correct.
Sasha Banks, I think very much the same. And Sasha Banks also, I know we don't talk a lot of, I know we just talked about Bad Bunny coming in, who cares? I mean, to be fair, Sasha was on The Mandalorian.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Big deal.
A really big deal.
Still didn't bring in viewers.
That is like one of the top TV programs you could possibly be on.
Correct.
So you have her coming off that. This is a huge, huge matchup. you only get one chance to do this matchup the first time. And their big decision was to put them in a team. And they did this multiple times. They lost not once, but twice.
Right. They did it the first. What was the first one was it Rumble that they did it the first time?
I think it was the Chamber.
Oh, it was Chamber. It was Chamber. Cause see, I'm still of the mindset that there's only Royal Rumble, a February pay-per-view, and then Mania. I forgot that they added the extra stupid pre-Mania pay-per-view. But okay, so they did it at Elimination Chamber. That should have been it. And then comes Fastlane, and they do it again. Stop. Oh gosh, the same match.
It's the same match, but it was a whole lot worse. They messed up. The ending was so incredibly confusing.
So bad.
Also, can we just talk about this little point? I hate how everybody points to the Wrestlemania sign now.
It's so terrible. It's so bad.
I hate how everybody points to it, and now when they do it, every time someone points to the Wrestlemania sign, there's fireworks. Every single time.
That is. I swear. This is what I'm. So when people talk about, when Vince dies, Triple H will take over. No. When Vince dies, Stephanie will officially take over. She's already taken over. She will officially take over. They've given Triple H his sandbox over in NXT. And even that's becoming a little corporate. It's all Stephanie. You know, like that's why Shane left in the first place. Because he saw that years ago. It was all going to be Stephanie. And Stephanie is a soulless corporate creature. So she doesn't care about the quality of the shit that she puts out. She just cares about the corporate structure. That's it. She's and you cannot reason with corporate people. You just can't. I worked for corporate people before. When I lived in Santa Clarita, I worked at LA Fitness. There was a supervisor there named Lisa. She was a soulless corporate creep. You couldn't humanize with her. You couldn't connect with her on a human level because all she thought about was corporate, charts. Same thing with Stephanie. So that's why everybody has to do this and do this multiple times and do this again and again and keep doing this. And even when I'm mad, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be mad at you and I'm going to do this.
Drill it into our brain. You have to open a hole and drill it in our brain all the time.
It's terrible. It's awful. So this match takes place. It's the main event in front of people. I keep forgetting that this whole card is going to be in front of people. By the way, because it's in front of people, I think Bad Bunny's going to get booed. And
you know what? I think this might be a huge wake-up call, only because not only have they had a year with no fans, they've also had their own, track where they can decide who gets cheered.
That's right.
Who gets booed.
Correct.
I think there's a chance they can get a big wake-up call here of what people really think.
That's right. I think Bad Bunny's going to get booed. Well, maybe not, because I feel like there's going to be some people that are just going to be happy to be there, and they're just going to do whatever they're told. As far as the match is concerned, Sasha versus Bianca. Take a sip every time I say if they're smart. If they're smart, Bianca Belair wins.
Yes.
I'm not sure that they're that smart. I think I'm gonna go so far with she will.
I think she will.
She should, but also, okay, yeah, I think she will. Because of my prediction on night 2, I think she will.
All right.
Okay. Who do you?
I think Bianca's gonna win. I think WWE believes enough in her. Like, have you seen that video where she went backstage and Vince went up to her and he was like, "You are the total package. You literally have everything." Like, I think they had her win the Royal Rumble. I think they believe enough in her to give her this win.
Yeah.
I think it's solid enough.
Yeah.
Enough evidence.
All right. All right, night 2 of this abomination.
We're halfway through.
Boy, bloody hell. All right. Oh, Jesus. Talk about the women's tag team match. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler with Reginald versus whoever won the tag team turmoil match. I forget who I said. I don't even know if I said anybody would win. I forget who I said. Riot Squad? I don't care. You said Billie Kay and Carmella. Do you think they beat Nia Jax and Shayna finally?
I think whoever wins night 1 is going to beat them night 2.
I don't. I think they think.
You know?
I think they think Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler with Reginald is funny. So I think they're going to keep them as a team. I think they think that's entertaining. Especially after Nia Jax took Reginald out to buy his little short shorts that he calls suit pants.
Get it? She's big and he's small. It's funny.
Get it? And Shayna doesn't like it. Get it? She's the serious one, pal. Get it?
You're good for all this. Get it?
Sheamus in the United States Championship match.
Sheamus versus Rob Van Dam.
Versus Matthew Riddle.
Or is he just Riddle? Is he Riddle now?
No, he's Matt Riddle. I don't care what WWE says. He has a first name. It's Matt Riddle, okay? Who wins?
Sheamus. I think Sheamus. I'm gonna say this. I think Sheamus, for as much crap as he used to get, like back in like 2012, 2011, 2013, during that whole run where they were really pushing Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really working his tail off.
He's a much more mature wrestler now.
He's done his best work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I respect that. And you know what? It's kind of nice after having so many bad builds to have a match that just doesn't have build. It's kind of refreshing, actually.
Well, they had a couple matches on Raw, right?
Oh yeah.
Months
ago, they used to have like matches against each other.
They did that whole you have to beat the champion to be a title contender thing.
I don't think they remember that because they don't keep track of their own.
No, that was only like a couple weeks ago. I think this could be a sleeper hit of night 2. Considering the talent, I think aside from the birds flying out of Matt Riddle's ass or whatever during his entrance, I think this could be a considerable one. I think though, taking the title off Riddle at this point would be a mistake.
I think, you know what?
Even though they want to give Sheamus a consolation for helping to get Drew ready for Mania, taking the title off Riddle at this point might be a mistake. It could go either way, but I think Riddle at least keeps the title somehow. I don't know if he wins, but he keeps the title.
You know, as much as I don't like the comedy that they constantly force upon Riddle, I will say, as an in-ring performer, he's one of my favorites. I think he produces some of the best matches of anyone in WWE. He has that ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And all the comedy stuff, it depends, because there was a report saying Vince McMahon, he loves Matt Riddle, he thinks he's hilarious, which is good and bad at the same time.
Correct. He also thought Otis was hilarious.
It's good because that means Vince McMahon won't forget about you. He'll constantly have you booked. He'll look out for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're stuck in a box. And unfortunately, I think Matt Riddle will be mostly a comedy character for his remaining time there in WWE.
Yeah.
Which is not the worst thing to be in. Compared to other people, it's not the worst situation.
Hey, the New Day have been comedy characters for most of their run.
Yeah, and Kofi won the title, so.
You know, so who do you think walks away with the title here? Who do you think wins?
I think they're going to give it to Sheamus, just for new champion's sake.
All right, I see that point. I get that point. They want to reward him for the work he's done recently. I do think it's too early to take the title off Riddle, but that doesn't mean they're not going to do it. Um, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn with Logan Paul. Now, of all people to draw an audience, Logan Paul might actually do it. Fuck Bad Bunny. And Logan Paul's only been in there for a week.
Yeah.
Of all people to actually draw people to this, Logan Paul might do it.
He could.
Who wins here, or does it matter?
Whoever Logan Paul sides with is probably gonna win. Here's the
He's
thing
with Sami Zayn.
that I find really weird. Like, I find it weird that they come in and they book Logan Paul as like the celebrity babyface, even though he is so unlikable.
Oh, just terrible.
He's
Just
so incredibly unlikable that I'm surprised they didn't book him to just be like to drink the Sami Zayn Kool-Aid. I think that could actually really work if they just put him with Sami Zayn and he was like, yeah, I believe everything you're saying.
He's with Sami Zayn. He's coming out with Sami Zayn. Here's the thing. Anybody who knows anybody who knows even the slightest thing about the Paul brothers hates their, like, I've never seen any of their fucking videos, and I hate the Pauls. Like, just because I know that they're talentless half-wits that are somehow multimillionaires because people are stupid. Now, here's the other part, and again, this goes back to the corporate mindset. Well, Logan Paul has millions of followers on YouTube, and we want to siphon that audience. So we're going to put Logan Paul on our show. I'm actually surprised he's not, like, in the main event wrestling Roman Reigns, but fine. Okay. I don't think it matters who wins this because it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it's been long enough that they haven't been in a high-profile match. I know they were in an Elimination Chamber, but nobody remembers that or cares.
Yeah.
It's been long enough that they haven't been in a high-profile match that this should be good. I've now had time to miss them against each other.
That's actually true. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
The last singles match on pay-per-view was 5 years ago.
Was it?
It was 2016.
Well,
was like
because they were a team. They were a team on TV for a while.
It was right when the brand split started.
Because they were a team on TV for a while, though, right?
Yeah, they were a team, but they never feuded against each other.
Right. They just kind of went their separate. They just kind of broke. They didn't do this big blow off thing. They just kind of went their own separate ways. So
actually, they did have one match against each other, but it didn't really matter. But
right.
Besides that, it was like there was like this 5-year gap between having matches, so they actually showed some patience.
Good. And see, WWE used to be really good at this. They used to be really good at separating guys, even before brand splits. I remember back in '97 when Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker touched for the first time. And I was like, wait a minute. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker have never had a match. They've never been against each other. This entire time, they've kept them absolutely separate. They've both done big things. You know, they both won titles. But they've never come together. So when they finally came together in '97, it was a big thing. It was huge when they finally, for the first time, collided. They used to be, now everything's so mishmashed and there's so many matches with the same guys over and over again. The fact that they were able to keep them separated this long is a huge plus. I really don't care who wins. Although if I think about it, I don't like face Kevin Owens. And I actually think Sami Zayn's done some pretty good stuff recently. So
I actually really like Sami Zayn.
Right. So from that perspective, I would want Sami to win because I don't like face Kevin Owens. I'm not a huge fan.
Like, the documentary gimmick he has is kind of genius.
Yeah. So I'm kind of pulling for Sami, but it doesn't really matter to me. Intercontinental Championship match.
So,
Nigerian drum fight. Big E versus Apollo Crews.
Now, what exactly is a Nigerian drum fight?
From what I heard, the Nigerian drum fight is I beat you so hard and so loud it sounds like a drum. No rule. It's a street. It's a no holds barred match.
Probably with some weird looking drums around the ringside or something.
It's a no holds barred match. Now, I was looking forward to their match at Fastlane, which ended, I'm imagining too soon and terribly and botched. In front of a crowd, Apollo Crews' time to shine, Big E's time to be serious,
Yeah.
I'm again putting my hopes in their hands again. I put it in their hands at Fastlane. I don't know what happened. I haven't even heard any stories about what happened. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is going to be the match that they hoped that they would have had at Fastlane or should have had at Fastlane. You could put the title on Apollo Crews since he did the heel turn and make it mean something. You know what I mean? He did the big... And don't have him be Mustafa Ali, who turns all badass and just loses all the time. Yeah. Giving him the Intercontinental Championship could particularly work for that. And you don't... And Big E's had the title long enough that he doesn't... It doesn't have to be like a WWE Championship scenario. He can get it back. He can get it back in a couple months. Like, that's fine. Like, him fighting for the Intercontinental Championship and, like, having that kind of Razor Ramon Diesel dynamic where they fight back and forth and trade it back and forth, or, like, Triple H and Rock, that kind of dynamic is good for Big E. Because when Big E, hopefully, if they're smart, next year ascends to the heavyweight championship role, then this year of fighting for the Intercontinental Championship will mean something. So if they book this properly and have Big E as a staple of that Intercontinental division, and Apollo Crews as a staple of that Intercontinental division, throw a couple more people in there, every month or two, but, those two are the main focal point. This could be big business. So I say give it to Apollo Crews for the short term. They can trade it back and forth, but give it to Apollo Crews is what I say.
What are your thoughts on the new Apollo Crews character?
So
That's an interesting one.
So apparently it's not that far of a departure from what he did on the Indies.
Really?
As he was Uhaa Nation on the Indies. So okay. Like, there are some people, like, who don't know that, who, like, compare it to, like, Saba Simba. I don't. Like, he's not, like...
Yeah, I get a lot of people that think it's racist.
I get it. I understand why they think... But honestly, so, before the network switched to Peacock, they started uploading, like, late episodes of Primetime Wrestling. I used to love watching Primetime Wrestling because of the dynamic between Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Right? As a matter of fact, they're one of my top 5 wrestling bromances of all time. Go check out that video. Top 5 wrestling bromances.
300 views.
Something like that, yeah. And some of the later episodes have Saba Simba. Now, for those of you who don't know who Saba Simba, do you know who Saba Simba was?
Saba Simba. I'm not sure.
Okay, so Saba Simba was like in like 90, 91. And it was Tony Atlas making a comeback. And his whole thing was he had traced back his roots to Africa. He'd gone back and visited the motherland. He was going to come back more in tradition with his heritage. It's essentially the same thing that they did with Tito Santana and El Matador a couple years later. It's essentially the same thing. But a lot of wrestling personalities, most famously R.D. Reynolds of WrestleCrap.com, purported it as a super racist thing. I can't believe they did this because he came out with like a headdress and African gear and African music and a spear, and he would do like an African dance, and they would come out and he would wrestle, right? And they said that it's super racist. Looking at the couple of matches that they put on the network, because there were WWE was not putting Saba Simba stuff on the network. There were a couple of matches that they did. I don't know. I'd have to look at more footage before I say like, oh, super racist, because it's like it just kind of sounds like this guy wanting to bring. It doesn't sound any more out of pocket than El Matador or Tatanka or Chief J Strongbow or any other character that says that they want to get back in touch with their roots. So when Apollo Crews says it, I'm not immediately like, oh, that's racist, because shit, his grandfather may or may not have been an African chief. Like, his parents were from Nigeria. Right, that's right. Yeah. So, like, and he did this on the Indies. So, like, I don't necessarily say super racist. I don't necessarily think it's super racist. I think, and especially in this climate, as long as Apollo Crews, doesn't let them, he's not out there in nobody's going out there in blackface or anything like that, or nobody's, calling him derogatory names or anything like that. Like, he's just embracing his heritage like everybody else has. Like, Roman Reigns is now. Like everybody else is. Like, so let it be. As far as the match is concerned, they have a lot to make up for in Fastlane, and I'm hopeful that they will. I think low key this may be the best match of night 2.
It could be. It could be one of the sleeper matches. We're a lot better with night 2 than we were with night 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's more hope for night 2.
There's more hope. There's more hope in night 2. Who do you think will win?
I think Apollo is probably gonna win. I kind of do like his gimmick a little bit. I'm not a big fan of how he's just weirdly switched to like a Nigerian accent. Because he sounds like a poor man's T'Challa.
I get that.
Because at first when he was doing it, he'd like occasionally go into it. When he was like quoting his grandfather, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. But now he's like gone full on. He's like Lana now, just switching completely to a new accent. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's not very believable. Mm-hmm. But it's something new for him to do. It's actually a character, something he's never had before.
Correct.
So, I think they're going to give him this big win. Especially since I think they're going to try to push a lot of new champions coming out of this. Because I think with new fans and everything, I think they want to kind of see it as a restart.
Yeah, that seems to be your trend here on these matches. Yeah. Is new champion. Yeah, that seems to be your trend. Matter of fact, I don't even think you said anybody's going to retain so far. I think you think it's going to be so far all new champs. All right, next match. The Fiend with Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. I don't care. I hate this match. I don't care about it.
I hate this.
I hate everything about it.
I had more hate for this match, but I've already given out so much hate in the last, for how long we've been doing this. This feud's not for me.
Historic.
I don't like the magic crap.
No.
I don't like Randy Orton vomiting black goo. I don't like him watching himself cutting a promo on himself.
No.
I don't like the fire.
No. None of it.
So, this is a normal match.
Is it?
All the weird stuff they're doing.
It's not a cinematic match?
Funhouse match. It's not a funhouse match. It's a normal wrestling match. I'm amazed.
It's advertised as a normal wrestling match.
That's true.
We don't know how they're actually going to shoot this.
Well, this is the first one in front of fans. They're not going to. Before they had all the weird jump cuts. They had pre-tapes.
Yeah.
How are they going to film? Like, is the Fiend going to fly in?
I mean, they could do what they did with the Boiler Room Brawl back in '96 and have them do all the stuff backstage. Like do most of the stuff backstage and then maybe come out for the finale. I don't care. I don't not care. I actively hate this match. I think Randy Orton has been the most boring motherfucker on that roster for years. I think that Bray Wyatt has gone off his rocker, my boy. I think I hate with a fiery passion cinematic matches. I hate them. I hate them
when they're done wrong.
They're always done wrong. You know the best cinematic match was of all time? Technically you could consider it a cinematic match? The Boiler Room Brawl that I just mentioned in 1996 because they shot that the day before.
You ever seen the Stadium Stampede?
Hell no. I saw clips of that. As soon as I saw the golf cart, I'm done. I'm out.
It was
out.
fun. I actually really enjoyed it.
I hate cinematic matches. I hate them because because that's not what I came to see. Yeah. I didn't come to see, an episode of Sons of Anarchy like we saw last year with The Undertaker and AJ Styles. Okay? That's not what I came to see. If I wanted that, I'd watch Sons of Anarchy. If I wanted to see, a horror show like this, I'd watch Saw or something like. I don't care. No. No, the best thing Bray Wyatt has done in years is JoJo. Everything else has sucked. And as much as I as much as and as much
It passed my head.
it takes a second.
But I got it now.
And as much as Alexa Bliss has done very well in that role that she has, she's very good as the creepy, little schoolgirl. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, whatever, right? I don't care. I hate it. I hate it all. This will 100% be the match that I start promoting the How Do We Even Get Here podcast on the side, that I answer tweets, that I go and do something else, that I change clothes, that I get my car washed. I will not be paying attention to this match. I think The Fiend will probably... I don't actually think The Fiend will probably win, because The Fiend, he's the eater of pins. He's historically the eater of pins. And after all they've done to Randy Orton, technically, although they said they tried to get people to boo Randy Orton, so he's supposed to be the heel, even though he's gotten hexes put on. I don't know or care. And I've always hated the combination of Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton together. They've always it's like historically I've never liked the combination of The Undertaker and Big Show together. Because outside of maybe 1 or 2 times, their matches have always sucked. They don't have chemistry. They have never had chemistry, and yet there was a long period of time when The Undertaker couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting Big Show. Especially in like the SmackDown X era, it was every week was the Big Show knocking out The Undertaker, and it was the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life. So some combinations are not everybody's Steamboat and Flair, okay? And these are definitely not Steamboat and Flair. So get your paychecks, get your money, but and please get the hell off my screen. I don't care. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for this Raw Women's Championship. Boy, you talk about something slapped together last minute.
This is supposedly Plan D. Plan A, I can't even remember what Plan A was, but
Asuka and Charlotte? It was Asuka and Charlotte.
Asuka and Charlotte.
Until Charlotte popped a false positive for being pregnant, and they took her off the card weeks ago.
How weird is that?
Now, mind you, with all those sex pictures that Andrade's posting on Twitter, I get why they might think that. Have you seen this?
I did see that.
Apparently, this is all Andrade's Twitter is now. It's just him posting a picture of him next to a sleeping, or just... Like, these aren't average people. She's a nationally known celebrity. Can you stop posting the after sex pictures of me, please? And thank you. Boyfriend, fiance of mine, can you hold on? Or if you're gonna take them, just keep them for your own private collection.
The plan was Asuka versus Charlotte. And I love that their plan was they were the women's tag team champions, and they tried to make it look like they were friends. They were, of all people, these girls had how many matches against each other, and we had to believe that they were friends.
By the way, they did this the exact same show that they did, I think, the first Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks tag team thing or something like that. So, or it was like back to back, or like one was Rumble and the next one was Elimination. It was right in that same wheelhouse. So Charlotte came back with Asuka, and they were, maybe they get along and they win the tag, or they win the match, or whatever. And then they did.
So then that plan, it quickly turned into what looked like it was going to be Charlotte versus Lacey Evans. Which, what a horrible... Oh, that was horrible.
Who asked for that?
Flair, all the weird stuff that happened in that, and then all of a sudden, Lacey Evans gets pregnant.
Hands up, whoever wanted Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans. Hands up. Keep them up so I can count. Okay. Okay. 0. Good.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. And honestly, and here's the thing. I honestly don't, I still don't necessarily believe that Lacey Evans is pregnant until I actually see her with a bump. I haven't seen it yet.
Interesting.
I haven't seen it yet. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll give it time.
Right.
Then they were going to go back to Asuka versus Charlotte. Then that fell through because of the false positive or whatever. Now we have Rhea Ripley, who's debuted and just challenged her right away.
Mm-hmm. Because they didn't have time for anything else.
Yeah. Is she a heel now? Because I think she turned on Asuka.
There was no time to do anything else. She just had to show up and be like, you.
Because they don't plan anything out. They don't plan anything out. And here's another thing. Asuka, how long has Asuka been champion? What has she done in the last 9 months? Nothing.
She's been she's gotten the Benoit treatment. When Benoit was heavyweight champion in 2004, he wasn't treated like the main event. The main event was still Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Benoit, for a couple of pay-per-views, was on the kickoff show as well as the main card. Like, they did that to him. They did that to CM Punk when he had the title. They did that to Ziggler. They did that to a couple of different people. She's gotten that same treatment where,
I feel like she's gotten even worse, though. Because she hasn't even been on anything. She's fully disappeared.
And
she's had matches against who? Zelina Vega? Gone.
Which,
Lana? Who cares?
Which, by the way, which feeds into another thing. People are talking about, why is Bayley not on the show? Because she was like the MVP of the Corona era. So was Asuka. Bayley and Asuka were the two